So, you know how I always say the cover-up is worse than the crime? The cover-up is worse than the crime. Here we have a Denver Sheriff's Department sergeant. You know, they got some stripes and they're supposed to be the smart ones, and they never are. Fired for deception after video shows her flashing department ID during a traffic stop. Now, for whatever reason, I was able to find the video and the article in the same place, so I don't have to have two screens running. So here we go. Discipline documents and video reveal why the city terminated former Sergeant Bridget Andrews this past December after she was pulled over for speeding in April. Okay, speeding, not that big a deal, right? Denver. After nearly 9 years with the Denver Sheriff's Department, Bridget Andrews is no longer with the agency after the city deemed she was deceptive when questioned about pulling out her badge holder and department ID during a traffic stop, according to city records. Okay. The traffic stop for speeding at 90 miles an hour on Interstate 25 in Denver occurred in April of 2024. After an internal affairs investigation, discipline documents show the city terminated Andrews this past December. So, she was probably April to December. Was she on paid administrative leave, or did they just let it slide until they decided they couldn't let it slide no more? Body camera footage from the stop shows a Denver Police Department officer walking up to the passenger window. Before any words are exchanged, Andrews can be seen displaying her badge holder with her department ID on display in her left hand. From her right hand, she gives her driver's license to the officer. So you're at 90 miles an hour. I come up and I stop you, and you immediately throw your badge up in my face. I don't need that, the officer tells Andrews. In response, because they can't just say, oh, my bad. There's always a response. She said, I keep my badge, my thing, in my wallet. Now, my husband did too. He had the badges were probably bigger than what they have as a badge, and it had his police ID in it. But then, in another wallet, he had his driver's license, money, and, credit cards and all that. Anyway, sounds like an excuse to have. And if it was in there, why wouldn't she have left it in there and been like, oh, I got to get it out of here? It'll look better. According to discipline records, Andrews asserts she never intended to flash her badge or department ID and claims she pulled them out because that is where she keeps her driver's license. He asked for my driver's license, which is always in my badge, Andrews is quoted as saying in city documents. However, civilian review administrator Carl McEnroe wrote the video evidence demonstrated Andrews contorted herself in a way so her badge could be on clear display for the officer. It is clear that Sergeant Andrews not only departed from the truth verbally, but did so knowingly. She was given multiple opportunities to acknowledge her actions, but instead of doing so, she distorted the facts and attempted to minimize her actions. Of course they do. Of course they do. Lie and divert. She didn't think anything was going to happen. Andrews was terminated about 3 weeks before her 9-year anniversary with the department. A spokesperson for the city's Department of Safety confirmed Andrews is appealing the termination. Okay, appealing the termination. So, let's see what we think about this.
A sergeant in the Denver Sheriff's Department has been fired after what happened during a traffic stop. She's accused of flashing her badge for preferential treatment.
Well, it's enough she was driving 90 miles a damn hour. You'd think that'd be enough to, warrant something.
However, the former sergeant is disputing that, claiming her driver's license was in her badge holder and she pulled that out. Investigative reporter Jeremy Hohola now has his hands on the body camera footage from that night. Jeremy?
Yeah, Tom, this sergeant was fired last month, but it wasn't for actually flashing her badge. It was for being deceptive about flashing her badge. The penalty for being deceptive as an officer in Denver usually carries the consequence of termination.
Ooh, usually carries the consequence of termination. It should always carry the consequence, but, the whole no one's above the law, that's something that they like to throw out to peons that don't know any better. But as we've seen time and time again, They are all above the law.
This is a traffic stop in April. Police body camera footage shows a Denver police officer catching a driver speeding along I-25. As the officer walks up to the car, inside is Sergeant Bridget Andrews with the Denver Sheriff's Department. She pulls out a leather case. Before anything is said, in her left...
Now, I get it. His flashlight's there, and she says she got something in her hand, but she is clearly, she hadn't contorted. Well, I accidentally turned it. No, you didn't. You are completely turned this way. You can see by, there's, look like her seatbelt going up through there. She is intentionally turned this way. I'm just surprised she didn't hold that up so she could make sure he saw there was a badge there too.
Left hand, she is raising up a badge holder, showing her Sheriff's Department ID. Her badge is underneath the leather flap. In her right hand, obscured by the flashlight, is her driver's license.
What's your license, please?
The officer runs her license and comes back, and then the two disagree over how fast she was going. The officer comes back with the radar.
But of course, another DEI. They can't look at the hair. Can we appreciate the hair? This is a sergeant. This is a sergeant on a Sheriff's Department. So she's a deputy. Still, law enforcement. Can we appreciate the no standards? Look at the you can't make this up. And then he's going to show her how fast she was going, and she still got something to say. You can't make it up.
Okay, so you're at 90 miles an hour. I come up and I stop you and you immediately throw your badge up into my face.
And when he said 90 miles an hour, you know how she looked down and looked away like, well, okay, Ann, you know who I am, right?
Need that, okay? Your ID was in your wallet, you pulled it out, and you had your ID in one hand and the badge in the other.
During the internal affairs investigation, records show Sergeant Andrews insisted she pulled out her driver's license, claiming it is always in my badge, and didn't intentionally flash her sheriff's ID.
What's funny, if it's always in your badge, it seemed like you knew you were being pulled over. The minute you stopped, you could have had that out and your badge would be put back up. Nope, she wanted some special treatment. She's about to get some that they don't normally get.
However, the city felt she was deceptive about that claim while citing the video evidence and imposed termination. Sergeant Andrews was fired this past December, about 2 weeks before her 9-year anniversary with the Sheriff's Department.
They should have waited and fired her, like, the day before.
Now get this, discipline records indicate if there was no act of deception, the sergeant here would have been suspended for about 40 days for flashing her sheriff's ID and back.
Would have been suspended for 40 days. Would that have been with pay? Because they don't care if they're suspended. Oh, they get a paid vacation. The taxpayers are footing the bill. They don't care. There's no accountability. Nothing's going to happen to them. So, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree or disagree? Like, share, subscribe. And I am out here in a couple seconds.
Badge holder. The city tells us she is appealing her termination. Tom, back to you.
The body camera footage takes us right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, front seat.
All right. Jeremy, thanks.